Energy. It heats our homes and cooks our food. It powers our cities and keeps us moving. But from the wrong source, it is causing our planet to go up in smoke.
We are presently pumping about 5 tons of carbon dioxide per person into the atmosphere per year.
When fossil fuels are burned, they release large amounts of carbon dioxide into the air, trapping heat into our atmosphere. What ensues are extreme weather patterns and rising sea levels, leaving communities displaced.
New Orleans is really living on borrowed time. So is Miami. Even cities like New York are going to be subject to a lot of flooding.
Air, water, and plastic pollution caused by these dangerous gases leave our ecosystems without a hope.
The ocean is vitally important for us as humans and in fact the planet as a whole.
Why are we taking these risks with our one and only planet?
But what if we didn't have to compromise? What if there was another way which wouldn't lead to the planet's destruction? And what if electric motorsport could lead the way in this energy revolution? Well, it's already begun.
Prepare to be aggressive.
Hyperdrive now.
Climate change is being accelerated by the huge quantities of greenhouse emissions that are being put into our atmosphere by human activity, nearly 3/4 of which comes from our use of energy. Our various industries use a large proportion of this, as do our buildings, but the way we move ourselves and goods from A to B causes over 16% of greenhouse emissions. And within that 16%, pipelines, trains, shipping and aviation all have relatively small parts to play compared with the nearly 12% of emissions that road transport causes. The way that we move and the transport we use has to change.
We have to act now to make those changes.
It is a situation where we need all hands on deck and all solutions on deck.
Motorsport is the catalyst for change, and it has undergone a revolution in the past 8 years. Starting with electric championships, Formula E and Extreme E.
These cars are actually pushing the envelope of technology and electrification of transport.
There's a huge opportunity in the world of sports, and why not use the reach we have?
It's about innovating and leading the way to a better future.
Wouldn't it be great to be a part of something that really does make a difference?
And there is so much more to come. The new electric boat series E1 hits the water in 2023.
The first ever World Championship of electric powerboats.
A whole new style of two-wheel racing comes to city centres in 2024. And a new power source for off-road racing championships.
Also extreme, also with SUVs, but powered with hydrogen. It's almost like a mini power plant inside a car.
But where did this energy revolution begin?
My dream is that every car in the world is electric one day. Competition is the key for technology progress.
Is this okay? Before Formula E or before electric, of course I was in combustion racing. For many years I was involved in the world of Formula 1. Realizing that there was a need for a more sustainable motorsport came talking with a sponsor. At one point the sponsor just said, we're not going to do it. We are concerned about the sustainability of the sport. And at the time I thought, we have a problem. That's how the idea of creating a sustainable sport, a zero carbon sport, came about. It all changed in Paris in February 2011. We were having a dinner with Jean Todt, the president of the FIA, I remember Jean saying, I think FIA should create an electric car championship. And I said, yeah, and I'll be the promoter of that. And that was the beginning.
Alejandro won the tender to promote the new FIA-sanctioned electric championship, but had to build it from nothing, which was not an easy task.
So when we created Formula E, really the objective was to change the perception about electric cars, to make them more attractive. But the second objective was to create kind of a laboratory, a place where the brands can test their new electric car technology, their new electric powertrains, and to improve those and make electric cars basically better, more suited for general adoption.
Creating real-world relevance was key, and by promoting electric mobility and racing in city centres, Formula E managed to gather the support of investors, teams, and host cities. Despite widespread doubts surrounding the reliability and performance of electric vehicles following the championship's initial test at Donington, the stage was set for Formula E's inaugural race in September 2014.
The lights are coming on, and for the first time, we go green in Beijing.
That was an incredible moment, that everything that we had been working on for the previous 2 years just happened in 1 second. That was the most memorable moment in the history of Formula E and one of the biggest moments in the history of motorsport.
Wheel-to-wheel action throughout the field confirmed that Formula E was an exciting new breed of racing, and a dramatic crash on the final lap saw the series go viral.
Heidfeld's closing in as they come towards the final corner at turn 20. Is Heidfeld going to fancy a look into the last corner of the race? Heidfeld goes to the inside line and they make contact and they're both off. And that's an accident for Nick Heidfeld. He has gone off the circuit. The two of them come together in the final corner, which means Lucas Di Grassi is going to take victory here in Beijing. Champagne on the top step of the podium for Lucas Di Grassi.
The crash showed that it was not a show, it was a sport. People really fighting hard to get that position.
In the 7 seasons since the memorable first race in Beijing, the championship has staged almost 100 races in iconic cities across 5 continents, crowning 6 champions. Formula E has exceeded all expectations and provided manufacturers with a race-to-road testbed for emerging electric technologies.
I think it is the future. The whole world should be run on clean energy. It's showing the car manufacturers what they should be doing. Really exciting.
Despite heading up the world's first net-zero carbon sport and entertaining millions, Alejandro wasn't finished there.
Sports is an incredible way to raise awareness about climate change. That's the reason that made me go one step further and create Extreme E, which, I think is the most audacious type of motorsport ever.
On board its floating paddock, Extreme E was launched in front of some of motorsport's biggest names.
Welcome to the Santa Elena. Welcome to what I think will be the biggest adventure of our time. This is the floating paddock that is going to take these cars all over the world.
This is going to be the most extreme form of motorsport.
After a few years doing a Formula E and promoting races of electric cars in cities and promoting electric cars in cities, we wanted to take the next step, to take this racing to the next level, to bring these races to places around the world that were being affected by climate change. And of course, we couldn't do that with Formula cars. That's how Extreme E came about, to create this off-road championship with these electric SUVs that would showcase the technology of SUVs everywhere in every kind of terrain, but at the same time help raise awareness and take action in those locations around the world that are affected by climate change. And we realized quickly that not only remote locations are affected by climate change is having effects right here at home.
It's some of the biggest names in motorsport. The teams are massive and it's 50-50 split male and female. It's never been done before. It's absolutely iconic.
With a new championship born, a new challenge was set for the world's best engineers. Their task was to design and build a robust, fully electric car ready to survive the different extreme conditions the drivers would face. It was the engineers at Spark who took on building the first ever Extreme E car.
Odyssey 21 and Extreme E in general were not only a challenge for Spark, but it was a challenge for the overall industry because nothing as such had been done before. We had many experiences before obviously with Formula E, so we didn't start completely from a blank sheet of paper, although this beast was a blank sheet of paper. A type of rally red electric car with very, very demanding performances. So it was a huge challenge, which we loved to take, and you have it behind me.
Made to withstand extreme environments, the specially designed batteries were created by Williams Advanced Engineering, the same minds who assembled the batteries and cells for the Formula E Championship.
When I first got the Extreme E project on my desk, I was just like, we've got no data, we don't know what the tracks are going to be like. The more I found out about it, the more I realised we're really going to push the envelope here. It's extremes of temperatures, it's extremes of pressures, it's extremes of locations, and I just thought that this is really going to challenge the engineering teams. Nothing on this scale has ever been attempted before. This is my biggest challenge within Williams, without a shadow of a doubt.
Its tyres, the vehicle's crucial connection to these terrains, were designed especially for the extreme conditions by Continental Tyres.
I know that 480 kilowatt hours of power, it needs to be having very robust tires. So this will be one of the most durable, and from the endurance point of view, one of the best tires ever made.
Almost 2 years after the first Extreme E car made its debut, the fleet were loaded aboard the St. Helena for their maiden voyage around the globe.
Today, thanks to you and all your hard work, we made it a reality. Thank you all very much, guys. Big applause for you. After the creation of Formula E, after the creation of Extreme E, the next idea was to go to the water, to electrify boats. And that's why we decided to start the E1 series, the first ever World Championship of electric power boats.
Due to commence in 2023, E1 will see up to 12 teams competing in 7-metre-long crafts, capable of racing at over 90 kilometres per hour. For Roddy Basso, the CEO and co-founder of E1, ambitions for the series are high.
In 5 years, I would like to see city events with hundreds of thousands of people showing up to watch the race, but also there is much more in terms of legacy, in terms of impact.
The mobility in the water, it's cause for a lot of pollution. There's a lot of problems linked to combustion engines, leakage, oil, fuel in the water, in the seas, in the lakes, in the rivers. Electric powertrains can help improve the mobility in the water.
Sustainability for us is very important from the beginning. I would say by design of the championship and also the concept of the power boat itself.
The boats for the series, for the E1 series, the electric power boats are called racebirds. They are the result of the design of a Norwegian designer called Sophie Horn that has worked in cooperation with some of the best in the field to create these first ever electric power boats.
The goal here is to try to make the boats as light as possible. The inspiration here as well has been seabirds. So to have natural organic form and shapes has always been the inspiration, and I believe that the design that we're showcasing now represent that.
Sophie, Alejandro and Roddy were all present on the River Po in Italy to see the racebird hit the water for the very first time.
No one has done anything like this, ever. Okay, there it goes.
Guys, it's moving.
It's moving.
It is moving.
It's
go,
up.
go, 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 go,
It's
go,
up.
go, go, go. Guys, it's up!
Wow, wow, look at that.
How silent, how silent, just the water. It's actually flying.
Nice. Horn.
Well done, well done.
It's been 3 years in the development from the first idea, and then finally to see it here. Amazing.
I think that went better than planned. I've done many of these shakedowns, and the first time nothing works. This time everything worked amazingly well. This is the first prototype only. There will be other prototypes before the final race boats, but it's a great beginning.
In the meantime, we keep building our championship. We are focusing on defining more and more the format and the media product in terms of teams that are coming, in terms of cities that are going to be part of our championship. So exciting time, a very exciting time. And the good news that we have for the world is that she flies. And this is our starting point for an incredible future of the championship.
Despite the creation of multiple new electric championships, Alejandro is keen to ensure that even established series continue to push the boundaries of EV technology.
Things have moved forward so much. We know so much more about the technology, about electric powertrains, about batteries. So I think the evolution is it's incredible. But that evolution only happens when you have a platform where the evolution can happen. That is the role of the ABB Formula E Championship.
At the recent Monaco E-Prix, Formula E unveiled the all-new Gen 3 car, which will be raced from the start of Season 9 of the championship. With a power output of 350 kilowatts, the new machine has a top speed of 200 miles an hour.
This car is marking a step change in terms of performance, sustainability, efficiency. We have really pushed the limit to make this car much better than what we have today in Generation 2.
Really a good step from Gen 2 to Gen 3, the biggest one, so bigger than Gen 1 to Gen 2. It's a lot faster, the power is impressive. I'm just looking forward to drive it for the first time.
It's smaller, it's more compact, so definitely a big step forward for us to race and to be able to race in the tracks.
The technology involved within the car is very, very exciting. No actual rear brakes, it's all done on the regenerative side. So yeah, a load of new changes for us.
The first time I saw the Gen 3 car, I saw the future of electric cars. I think it's going to be an iconic machine for the EV revolution. We move the envelope in different areas. One example is a battery that can accept ultra-fast charging. Charging and how fast you can charge is one of the main challenges and will be one of the main opportunities for mass adoption of EVs. If people know that they can charge their car in 10-15 minutes, I think they will be a lot more inclined to buy an electric car. The energy that it will be used during the race to power that car, about 40% of that energy will be energy that has been recovered while the car is racing. That's a massive amount of recovery of energy. Again, that's a huge technological leap forward for electric vehicles. I think what we need to convey, it's a very simple message, that EVs are moving forward, that EVs are a solution, not for the future. EVs are a solution for now. Gen 3 will help achieve that.
The Gen 3 Formula E car hits the track in 2023, but before that, there is something new coming from the world of bikes. Redefining the way we navigate our cities, our land, our world, eXplorer is the world's first electric, all-terrain motorbike World Cup. Teams of 2 will race relay style on short technical tracks in total gender parity. The series will road test cutting-edge motorbikes for the planet's biggest manufacturers, with 12 individual racing teams and 24 riders competing. Across iconic global landmarks, from inner city to remote terrain where every changeover, every jump, every second counts. Making a mark without leaving a trace. eXplorer will take the electric revolution onto 2 wheels. Season 1 of Extreme E saw 5 races in 5 different remote locations around the world, including Saudi Arabia, Senegal and Greenland. Not an easy feat to pull off in the middle of a global pandemic.
I think the first season of Extreme E has been a huge success. First, just to make it, because it was so difficult starting with the pandemic to basically deliver a whole season of racing. I think the final product is fantastic. This has been a learning season about race format, the cars, about how to optimize the circuits, and I have enjoyed the feeling of creating something new that has never been done before.
Rosberg X Racing made history as they became the first ever Extreme E champions after winning 3 out of the 5 races and securing victory by the narrowest of margins in a thrilling final race. But it wasn't only the action on the course that marked Extreme E as a groundbreaking new sport, but the race's 50-50 male and female split on the driver lineup.
The gender equality aspect of Extreme E is probably the one that makes me more proud, I think we have really accomplished something very big there. Because it's a format that places exactly the same importance, the same responsibility in the man and the woman driving. They're both key for victory of their team. And I think it's a unique format that's never been done before. And we've seen so much progression with the female drivers during the course of the season. So I think that has made a big impact. I think it will be adopted by other competitions, and I think it's one of our best features.
Being a sport for purpose, a panel of scientific experts were invited by Extreme E to undertake research and help advise the championship on legacy initiatives. The legacy projects aim to provide positive environmental and social support in each of Extreme E's race locations.
The legacy program really has taken shape, and I think we've had great partners on the ground. And the important thing is to do things locally. Small, big, doesn't matter how big they are, but they need to make an impact.
I think all the legacy programs that we have done this year and learning about the environment, the local environment, it's just been very eye-opening to me to see what is actually happening in our world firsthand.
My life's changed and now I'm paying attention to those things, you know.
Doing those little things on a minor level seems minor, but when you get so many more people involved, it becomes a major effort. So everybody do a little, it'll go a long way.
Now, no longer in its infancy, Extreme E's Season 2 continues with a double-header in Sardinia, followed by races in Chile and Uruguay.
So Season 2 feels great, because it's like when you're running with a backpack, super heavy backpack, and suddenly the backpack disappears and you run much faster. And we keep learning. It's always improving. It's always looking forward. We will keep making changes to make Extreme E even better every time.
Building on the success of Extreme E and launching in 2024, a new style of racing series is in development, Extreme H.
Extreme H is a new championship. It's a whole new category of racing. Also extreme, also with SUVs, but powered with hydrogen. It's a very pioneering technology, very complicated. It's almost like a mini power plant inside a car.
Spark Racing Technology, based in Paris, are charged with developing this innovative new technology and adapting it for use in a racing car for the very first time.
It's probably the alternative to electricity for transportation in the future. And this clean hydrogen will power the same electric powertrain and basically the same mechanics as we have today, but you would have the demonstration of a totally new technology, which is called hydrogen fuel cells.
Hydrogen fuel cells produce electricity by combining hydrogen and oxygen atoms, with the only emission being water. These fuel cells would replace the batteries in the current Extreme E racer to power the electric motors.
This hydrogen fuel cell as itself is a very complex system, and we will have to make it simple and safe and reliable so that for the public, for the teams, it is as good to race as Extreme E is today.
We know that many people tend to think that hydrogen is dangerous because having a tank with high pressure and so on is a bit frightening. But once they will see a car crashing and everything finishing happily, then I think we will have done the job.
On site at Extreme E events, most of the power is generated from hydrogen fuel cells. The team at Spark want to utilise this existing infrastructure to benefit the cars in Extreme H.
We see it as a great opportunity to mutualize the supply of the hydrogen. So it should be the same that goes quote-unquote into the car as it goes into the paddock. If you really want to be serious about being environment friendly, if you bring hydrogen for the power supply of the paddock, if you bring it as well for the cars, then definitely you have an economy in terms of weight, place, pollution and so forth, so that's a great opportunity.
I see Extreme E and Extreme H as very, very complementary. They will race most likely on consecutive weekends on the same location, so we will use the infrastructure. We will that way also save a lot of CO2 emissions that are associated, of course, with our footprint when we go racing somewhere. But yeah, that's how I see Extreme E and Extreme H. Sister championships, but separate championships.
The prototype car will be launched next year to kickstart preparations for Extreme H.
For sure the clock is ticking, it's really tight schedule.
But well, we can't wait.
I think technology is the only way to reach our target, our goal. And hydrogen is one of those technologies. The whole mix of technologies is what motorsport can push forward, can bring to the table to achieve our dream of zero carbon mobility in the future.